So I have talked to over 3,000 holistic experts from all over the world, majority of them women, and in their, perimenopause, menopausal
Right.
stage. I was shocked, irrespective of the cultural ethnicity that they belong to, most of the women have been silent. Majority of
Mhm.
them in this age group. I think it's the generation part, We
Yeah.
women in our 50s were raised to be super women and
Yeah.
not, right? Not seeking help is sort of like below our, I don't know what it is. I mean, right, I was shocked. I said, I'm not the only one who suffered through it. There were every ethnicity I talked to, they were all the same.
So, welcome back to the Executive Exhale podcast. Folks, today's a special episode. We're going to venture a little bit into a lot of it actually, into the women's health side of things today. This is going to be the first of many shows just like this that I want to do. This is a subject that's obviously close to my heart, very personal, given that I'm 52 years of age. And but it's one that many of my C-suite and executive clients struggle with in terms of like how we age and how it affects us and some of the impacts of aging, etc. So I really am really excited to welcome Amita Sharma here today because Amita is the co-founder of NourishDoc, and she's a holistic wellness. That is a holistic wellness platform. Sorry, that's dedicated to empowering women through every stage of their hormonal transition. So from PMS all the way to menopause. So I'm really excited about that. I'm looking forward to hearing all about that app from you. And it's culturally sensitive, accessible, and it's innovative. So I'm really excited to hear all about this. Welcome to the show. This is going to be a great conversation. I just know it.
Yeah, no, thank you, Tammy. And like you were saying, all of us, have experience at workplaces when we are
Yeah.
right at the ripe age of getting into the C-suite or getting into the next ladder. This hits us,
Yeah.
perimenopause, menopause, whatever, and that's not fair, you know.
We work so hard to get to that level, and then all of a sudden we're slammed with this. So
Exactly.
obviously, you're very open about your experience in the corporate world, kind of going through these transitions. So I'm wondering if you can so the audience gets to know a little bit more about you, but what's your
Yeah.
story? Sort of what was your journey like? Some of the surprising things that maybe came up during that time frame.
The thing is, I started getting all these strange symptoms in early 40s, and I
Mm,
was completely taken aback because that's something that I was not expecting. That was unexpected, a surprise, like a surprise
right.
baby, a surprise whatever. But the thing was, nobody tells you the fact that you are going to have perimenopause, not menopause. Menopause is 51, 52. That I knew. I knew, okay, one day I'm going to reach there. But I did not realize that 10 years before, I'm going to go through these hormonal fluctuations and suffer and torture through
Yeah.
the 10 years. And that's what caught me completely like, oh my God, all these strange symptoms, the sleep
Right.
at the brain fog in the morning, not able to concentrate at work, working in high tech in a very, very fast environment, not able to, kind of work productivity, all those things. I'm serious, I had everything you can think of. And I
Yeah.
thought like, okay, now in my 40s, my kids are a little bit grown up, I can focus on myself. And that's typically women think at that
Yeah.
age, right?
Yeah.
Your kids are teenagers, around that time. And now you can say, okay, I can focus on my career. I can rise up, grow up the ladder. Sure enough, I am trying to go up the ladder and the ladder's falling behind.
Yeah.
I'm falling and I'm going back. I mean, it was literally so bad for me that,
Mhm.
I had to end up quitting my full-time job and start taking up consulting and taking breaks in between so that I could only work 9 to 5, because the other, as you go up, as you know, in the leadership, you are pretty much not 24 by 7, but committed beyond 9 to 5. It's not an
Yeah.
8 hour thing. So it impacted me so much in my financial wellness, my career, my physical, my mental. I had anxiety. I was on the borderline of depression. I said, oh my God, how do I fix myself? All these things. And the silence, right? That's what killed me, right? The fact that I'm going through this without any support, any resources that I can open up and talk about it. That was the killer.
Yeah, I think that you're bringing up a really important point is the notion of taboo.
Mm.
and how I'm starting to see a shift in this, which I'm very excited about. I'm very happy about. But for many, many, many years, I would say even up until about 5 years ago, talking about this in the workplace was not welcome. So
Yeah.
walk us through that in terms of that silence and the impact, not just on you, but on the women that you worked with, sort of some of the impacts of that silence and feeling disconnected from it.
So I have talked to over 3,000 holistic experts from all over the world, majority of them women, and in their, perimenopause, menopausal
Right.
stage. I was shocked, irrespective of the cultural ethnicity that they belong to, most of the women have been silent. Majority of
Mhm.
them in this age group. I think it's the generation part. We
Yeah.
women in our 50s were raised to be super women and
Yeah.
not right. Not seeking help is sort of like below our. I don't know what it is. I mean, right. I was shocked. I said, I'm not the only one who suffered through it. There were every ethnicity I talked to, they were all the same. And the thing was the age group. Like you said, younger women in the 40s now, because they're vocal, they've been raised in a different way, they are talking about it, which is great. But 50 plus women, most of them, majority of them have been quiet. That has been my kind of observation. I should say that.
Yeah, I struggled the same way. I found that, and it's interesting because it was only when the ladies, i.e., the older women in the organization, we'd go out for a drink after a meeting or something. And it'd be like, oh, I'm in that perimenopause, hot flashes, or this, that, or the memory issues, or the fatigue, and it was only then that we would have these conversations, but not in the workplace, but sort of like off hours when you're having a drink with someone or what have you. I just wonder though, like we push through these symptoms, right? And I know the impact as an executive wellness coach, but I'd love to hear your perspectives. Is like, what are the dangers of just grinding through, of just not really
Mhm.
taking care of it and just pushing through? Like what have you seen?
Oh, no, no, this is data. It's not
Yeah.
just my experience, right? And 80% of the women over 55 in North America have one chronic condition. These are the
Mhm.
dangers we're talking about. More women have dementia, osteoporosis, heart health. Believe it or not, as
Yeah.
they get older, even cancer sometimes is older women get it. The breast cancer and some of the other things. So there are so many issues, diabetes, right? So if we women are not taking care of ourselves when we are younger, and that's why we're starting younger, because those younger women we can influence. The older women, unfortunately, they are where they are, but they
Mhm.
can still embrace the holistic lifestyle. But the implications of that, the astronomical rise of the chronic condition, is
Yeah.
like it's nerve wracking, is what I'm saying, and that's causing trillions of dollars in the economy. We know that is the single most, right, in the United States, and even I don't know what the Canada figures, but generally in the United States, the chronic rise of chronic condition. There's so much debate that's going on right now. Even now, they're taking care of ultra processed food out. The vaccine. So much is happening because later on it becomes chronic conditions in the elderly, 65 and above.
Yeah, we know the data is pretty clear around the protectiveness of estrogen in the body, and Dr. Mary Claire Haver, who was a big proponent of educating people on this topic, talks a lot about how we are going in complete gonadal failure. Our ovaries spill out very little estrogen. In fact, most men at the same age have more estrogen than the women do at that same age, and it's because we go into complete failure. It's like they
Yes.
just stop producing the kind of estrogen we require. And so, yeah,
Mhm.
it protects us from inflammation. It protects us from cardiovascular disease. It protects us from dementia. It protects us from bone loss. And so it protects us
Exactly.
from pain. The minute I took HRT, the minute I got into hormone replacement therapy, the joint pain that I was having, I mean, within a month of being on HRT was so vastly different. The collagen loss on our faces, a lot of women complain about how their skin changes
Yes.
almost overnight. It's funny, I was looking at pictures of myself just from last year even, because I'm still in that in between, I'm not quite
Yeah.
menopausal, kind of in between phase. but
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be there within a year. And because I look at pictures of myself from last year and the amount of skin, like the collagen
Yes,
loss is obvious.
yeah.
Yeah, this little thing that starts. And that might seem superficial, but if it's happening on the outside, it's also happening on the inside,
Yes. What
right?
what what is happening inside is showing outside, right? That is how
Hmm.
our bodies work, whether we like it or not. And unfortunately, all of us don't have that kind of money. Like Kris Jenner,
Yeah.
at age 69, they're showing like a different person. I'm like, what the heck did she
Yeah.
do?
What the
Because
heck happened?
I know. I
Yeah.
know. What did we do here? Like a total AI makeover?
Yeah, exactly. Tell us a little bit about NourishDoc. How did it come? Like, how did you birth this with I'm assuming as a co-founder with you. So how did this come about?
So earlier, I wanted to do so. What actually happened was that I found holistic therapies, right? While I was
Mhm.
struggling through all this, what I'm just talking about, because
Yeah.
I went to the doctor, nobody told me about perimenopause. They said, "Oh, you're still young, you still have few years left to menopause," but nobody told me that this is the hormone fluctuation. So I had to discover my own discovery research, and through the research and all that, I discovered a lot of holistic therapies, and that helped me a lot. That
Great.
all these dietary modification, lifestyle modification. So I wanted to do something based on that topic of holistic thing, and that's kind of how this whole thing started. 4 years back, we started looking at the chronic condition and how some of the holistic therapies can help manage, prevent, or maybe reverse some of them.
Mm.
Quite a few of them are lifestyle based diseases. But the more I talked to these women, as I said earlier, 3,000 of them, the more I realized that the topic of perimenopause, menopause was under researched, underfunded, and based
Yep.
my experience at the same time. And I was very hesitant to do this, to be honest with you, about 3 years back. I'm like, nobody's talking about it. Me talking about it, people think, are you gone crazy? All those things, in my head again, my mind is going like, oh, be silent, grin through it. Then I'm like, what the heck? All these women are saying the same thing. I have had this strange experience and we want to do something holistic. Why not just go deep into this topic? And the moment I started going deeper into the topic and talking to again women, it's, oh my God, yes. Oh, so that's kind of how it started evolving. And we
Right.
decided to go really deep about 2 years back, to do the right research, to present the right resources, all of the things that whatever is available in current day and age.
So then you also mentioned it being culturally sensitive. So maybe walk us through what that means in terms of the wellness space in this menopausal world or in this hormonal shifting world.
Yeah, so like I said, menopause. More I talked to all cultural ethnic groups that you could think of,
Yeah.
and the research I did, menopause is different for different ethnic groups. That's what
Right.
I found. And as per the age and also the symptoms. So, for example, Latino American women and Black American women, they get menopause earlier, 3, 4 years earlier than a Caucasian woman. And that
Wow.
is not good. That's not good because
Yeah.
you're depleting your estrogen. We talked about that a few minutes back.
Yeah.
Some of the other Asian women, like Japanese women, they don't get hot flashes because of the dietary habits that they have had over the years
Right.
of soy based, soup based, fish based, all kind of things, right? And they have joint pain because of the because the structure of the body is a little bit more thin, right? And so that's there. And some of the Asian women, like Indian women in India, get menopause in 45, 46, which is very alarming. And some of
Yeah.
the other Muslim women also get 45, 46. So the point was that it's anywhere from 45 all the way to 51. That's the age, and the symptoms also are different as per the ethnic groups. So that is where the culturally sensitivity comes into
Mhm.
play in the wellness. That one Tylenol or one pill is not going to fix all the women, because every woman, depending on what lifestyle that she has had up until that point,
Yeah.
is going to experience menopause, perimenopause differently than other women. So that's kind of where the whole logic is, and the data supports it, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. And we band-aid our pain management with things like ibuprofen and Tylenol, which processed in the liver, processed in the kidneys. We know that when we get older, those things are also pressed. Fatty liver disease is augmented by the loss of estrogen as well. So you can have increased fatty liver, and then you're throwing on there drugs like Advil and Tylenol specifically that are processed through the liver, that causes even more pressure on your body. So yeah, so I love the idea of going holistic things that well, first of all, let's define holistic. So people who don't understand what that means,
Yeah.
explain to people, what does holistic mean when you talk about that?
So holistic is really your physical, mental, social, spiritual, the entire body, right? It's
Right.
not just one part of the physical body. Okay, the ibuprofen or Tylenol, as an example, takes care of your physical well-being or physical
Yeah.
um, attributes or whatever is happening at that point, whether it's pain or anything else. But the holistic part is overall. You're looking at the entire yourself, right?
Sure,
So
sure.
that's what it is. So, and the holistic is also typically considered um, not taking a pill, a regular Western medicine kind of a pill,
Right.
right? So
Right.
that's what it means. So holistic means things like fixing your diet, fixing your lifestyle, fixing your exercise, incorporating some of the supplements, some of the kitchen herbs and spices at home, things,
Mhm.
hypnotherapy, cognitive behavior therapy, all these things together. Now, this is hard work. I'm going to admit it's not as easy as taking a pill. But on
No.
the other hand, HRT, no HRT, if you incorporate a holistic lifestyle, you're going, as you grow older, you're going to have a better quality of life as you get
Yeah.
older, because you're not dependent, you're letting your body heal itself, right? You're not dependent on these medications so much. That's
Yeah.
really the premise of it.
I love that. So many of us, when we get into this phase of life, we tend to take a bit of a victim mindset and we give up a lot of our own personal agency. So I
Yes.
love the idea of finding practices, whether they be mindfulness practices, whether they be dietary, whether they be exercise related, whether they be what have you. And obviously, for culturally sensitive, it might mean prayer, it might mean whatever. The idea of bringing all of these facets in, and then supplementation and all of that, it kind of allows us to bring back our own agency. It gives us a sense of control that maybe the loss of this estrogen, because I'm telling you, man, for those that
Mhm.
are just entering into this phase, it feels 100 times worse than puberty, because the ups and downs of the hormones, like in my case, many of the symptoms I've had were similar to yours. But I have a benign condition called SVT, which is supraventricular tachycardia, and it causes palpitations. It causes my heart rate to run fast. There's it's a electronic issue with the heart. Let's just leave it at that. And I've not needed any treatment for it for 50 years. I mean, I started getting symptomatic in puberty. That's when it came out. But
Mhm.
I knew perimenopause was an issue when I suddenly went into a rhythm and could not get out of it with my normal practices, which was usually holding my breath and bearing down. And it was because of the lack of estrogen. And then I had to look at supplementation and so magnesium and all these things. So my point being is that when we get into this place, we can really take on a victim mindset. But I love the
Mhm.
fact that you're bringing this notion of, no, there's holistic stuff, there's things you can take control of. So
Mhm.
then walk us through a little bit of the app. How does the app and getting onto that really support a woman in being able to get her agency back and start taking control of things?
Yeah, so the idea was to make it affordable, scalable, and the fact that every woman in the world should be able to have access to this. That
Right.
really is our goal, right? It's so cost prohibitive to do. Let's say if I want to go to a naturopathic doctor, I love them. Functional medicine doctors, it's a couple of grand. You know how many of us we can afford it, but
A
how many
year,
of us
yeah. Yeah, it can
can
cost a lot of money.
actually do that? Even the hormonal replacement therapy is not covered by insurance. That is
Yeah.
so sad. And how many of us can afford $500 a month, an ongoing expense for the rest of our lives, right? I mean, it's something to think about. So if you start taking, so that's what really, with this thought, with the context and with the context, we decided to put the app in the self-care, the first step, super affordable. Then women should be able to understand the issues and also take some measurable actions to start
Mhm.
doing something. Like it's sort of like a holistic toolkit, so to speak, whether making changes to their diet, making changes to their movement, some kind of making changes to for your social and spiritual kind of wellness, whether it's meditation, it's yoga, it's breath work, it's qigong, it's tai chi, hypnotherapy, all the things, right? I talk about. So all these things we bring it together. If it's aromatherapy or whatever, so we
Mhm.
bring all these elements of all these holistic therapies together in this simple self-care app as a first step. And then after the first step, if someone still is not recovering or some has issues or they want to even a career advice, like someone like you would be there as well, who they can now do the next step of consulting someone, one-on-one or personalized, or even in a group setting, some kind of a workshop they can take. And then if
Right.
someone wants to take the HRT, we will have some network of providers which we are not administering because it's a highly sensitive and regulated, right? This whole HRT. But then we will also have HRT curated providers as well. So the idea is to provide this whole comprehensive journey of a woman when she's starting early on. Maybe it could be negligible as far as the symptoms are concerned, but at least she's empowered to handle herself when these things start happening as she starts getting closer to menopause and postmenopause, and even earlier, like PMS and PCOS. Also, we covered that as well.
I wonder how you respond to any kind of resistance that execs might show to this. And the reason why I say that is because I think the word holistic, unfortunately, has a negative connotations associated with it. We tend to, I personally do not have negative associations with it because I believe in a holistic approach to things. But that said, I think there's a lot of negativity put out there, and I think a lot of it is driven by pharmaceutical and other factors. But I wonder, how do we bring people along? How can we encourage them to really check out what you have to offer? Because I really see a lot of benefits to being able to tap into a variety of different methods and
Yeah.
tools that can support you in your health journey.
So it's the same way. Like 10 years back, nobody had thought of doing meditation, remember? And
Yeah,
nobody knew
I remember.
what meditation was about. I was like, really? And I mean, I come from back, I grew up in India. And I'm like
Yeah.
myself. I grew up in a land of yoga and meditation, and I'm like questioning, what the heck? Who does meditation? Only the yogis.
Who has time for that?
Right?
Yeah.
Now the whole world is saying, "Oh, wow, I love yoga, I love meditation." It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Holistic word. It's not like I'm taking. It's all evidence based. It's all research based. All these supplements. It's just the word. It's just talking about that. It's not only the physical part. It's also
Mhm.
talking about your mental, emotional, and your relationships. That is what holistic means to me, not in a negative connotation of bringing a snake oil, right? So I
Yeah.
think the definition of holistic has been sort of like, I don't know, it has a negative connotation because pharma might say, hey, holistic doesn't have the evidence, and then you're putting a snake oil. What we are trying to say is, maybe there's another word, but I don't know any other word except for holistic, is taking care of your entire self and using these therapies that have research behind it. All these therapies have research behind it, by the way. They all what I'm talking about. We already are taking turmeric, we already are taking ginger capsules, ashwagandha, all these supplements. I mean, we are all taking that. We are just
Yeah.
bringing it together,
Yeah,
right?
and I mean, black seed oil, you name it, like, people have been using these supplements for
Exactly.
centuries,
Percent,
folks,
yeah,
centuries. This isn't new.
exactly.
The whole Chinese medicine piece, I mean, that's just a massive amount of science there.
We are only bringing what has evidence, what has
Yeah,
research, things like that, right?
yeah.
We are not bringing anything that doesn't have any research, is what I'm saying. If
Oh,
we
that's
talk
great.
about food as medicine, I mean, literally, it's like, how do you use food as medicine? How do you use exercise? How do you use some of the other therapies to help yourself? And then we're not saying don't take medication, and it's
Yeah,
integrated, right? But
yeah,
there is a place for everything. There's a place for HRT. There's a place for Western medication. But if you do not take care of yourself on a daily basis, what we are talking about today, no matter how many medication you take, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You are going to, I don't want to say wrong things, but the quality of life, it's going to deteriorate as you get older.
Well, I mean, we know the data is pretty clear on this. When we don't take care of ourselves, it creates dis-ease, and when we don't take care of our mind, body, and soul, not just the body, we have dis-ease in the body. The body remembers everything. So yeah, that's a very, very strong point. So for yourself, then, being in this sort of tech startup space, how do you take care of yourself in this? Obviously, you're taking your own medicine. What's
Yeah.
some of how do you keep your own mission going?
I actually follow, you know what, the first thing is you have to develop some kind of a daily routine, every
Right.
single one of us. So that's what I have done for the last
Okay.
quite a few years. I have a very regimented daily
Yeah.
routine that I follow, and that has worked because I incorporate the movement every day, about an hour, hour and a half. Every single evening, I go for exercise. That's what I do. Then I eat right. I try to take some natural foods that have estrogen in it. They're called
Mhm.
phytoestrogens, like cabbage and cauliflower, broccoli, stuff like that. Incorporate
Yep.
these kind of foods. So I'm very particular about my diet. I'm particular about my exercise. Then also I use some of the medicated oils to massage myself, to massage my head, take care of my mind, right? All these things I try to do as much as I can on a daily basis.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Mentioning taboo subjects, I have to ask this question because this is something that affects all of us, whether we like to admit it or not. But when we
Mhm.
transition in our hormones, it can affect our sexual lives as humans. We are sexual beings. It's overlooked, it's very taboo, it's extremely sensitive, but can be very impactful if managed properly. So I'm wondering, how do you navigate that topic given the variety of cultural implications depending on where you are in the world around this subject?
Yeah, it's actually very, very sensitive topic.
It
You
is.
completely, I agree with you. And that's another thing we want to bring. See, holistic means this also, and we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of women, 60% of women who get divorced are during this menopausal years in UK, US, Canada, basically Western part of the world. And I'm not saying sexual health is the reason why they're getting divorced. It could be one of the reasons that because this topic being so taboo, this topic not being discussed openly, also sometimes you don't discuss it openly with your partners, the problems that you women can have with pain, with vaginal issues, and not getting aroused. All those things can impact sexual health and relationships, and could lead to sometimes could lead to breakups as well, right?
Yep.
So this is
Yep.
something to come out open, so that women don't feel, or even couples don't feel like, oh my God, I can't talk about it. It's better to
Mhm.
talk about it. And we want to provide a safe space where women can come and either talk amongst themselves or talk to a sexual therapist if they need to, or talk to a
Right.
sexologist, or even talk to a pelvic health specialist. There are ways that you can strengthen your pelvic, muscles or pelvic
Mhm.
health. It's all about the blood flow, right? That's not going
Yep.
in that part of the region, and you can do some exercises and some of the things to strengthen that whole area. So I
Mhm.
we definitely have this. We are covering this. This is something that is very near and dear to me because some of the few friends that I have seen have gone through some of the issues that we are discussing in the relationships. So that is something we want to provide a very safe space for women to come and see where they can be anonymous. They don't have to, but safely they can at least seek help, right?
Yeah. As an executive or a former corporate person, how do you think organizations should step into supporting folks that might be going through this? What are some thoughts on that?
So 50% of the workforce in North America is women. We have the data. And approximately 40% might be over 35. And we also know the perimenopause can start as early as mid 30s. So
Mhm.
for the corporations to neglect such a high percentage of the workforce is actually neglecting their bottom line. right?
Yeah.
That is, if I am a business and I have 50 employees and 30%, 30 are women, and who are not all of them can be pregnant at the same time, right? So we need to take care of those women who are going through hormonal fluctuations and educating them, making them aware and how to take care of themselves. That is something I think grow as we keep moving in the futures. More and more
Mhm.
corporations will have to incorporate that. I don't think this will be a sort of like a choice. Like in UK, it's mandatory. It's just
Yeah.
mandatory for an organization to be, if it's of a certain size, they have to provide this support, perimenopause, menopause support to women, because that is your workforce. What are you going to do? And so now all these years, women have also been quiet. That is the other problem. Women have not been vocal at workplace that I need this or we need this. But now we see more and more women talking about this. So things hopefully should change. We see a lot of celebrities, influencers talking about this.
Yeah, here's hoping. I'm seeing a bit of pushback in the corporate world with respect to women's health issues. I'm hoping that as we continue to move forward and progress as a human race on this planet, that we recognize that, because organizations, what I would love to see is I would love to see organizations be open to and flexible to what women's needs are, which could mean as simple as, and you mentioned it earlier in the show, how you had to change and completely shift jobs because you had to make sure you work 9 to 5, not 9 to 9.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there's flexibility. I mean, there's so much that we can do as productive human beings during those hours. Is there negotiation around needing to be on at 8 o'clock at night? Can that not wait until the next morning? And I think there's some boundaries there that we need to kind of reevaluate. And it would be nice if we can get to a place where we can have these conversations and sort of renegotiate how we work together to allow for women to get through these. Because, by the way, it's not forever. Like, we have these declines as we get older, but the shifts do
Hmm.
eventually sort of phase into a normal mode. There's support needed for that period of time where these massive shifts are happening. So we talked about the hormonal health and long-term issues, and I'm wondering how this app can help women on the thinking about the mental health side of things in terms of self-love and empowerment. We talked a little bit about that, but how much more connected are you seeing your clients become now that they're using this app?
App is not out yet. What we've done
Okay,
in the last 2 3 years is we've conducted a lot of one-off webinars,
perfect.
sessions, workshops, and we've collected a lot of data, and then we decided
Oh,
to put it in the app, so it's easier, for women to get through the app, and it's more affordable and scalable. So that's where we are. So the app is coming out end of June, July, somewhere around that time frame, in summer time frame.
perfect.
And the idea is to really take it to as many places, specifically in the workplaces. I'm very, very interested because a lot of women, they have to balance so much in addition to the work,
Mhm.
the family, at home, the spouse, and then running. I mean, if any support that we can give to women wherever they are in their journey, that's kind of the intent.
So will this be like a monthly subscription that people can sign on to? Okay, and will there be corporate sort of packages as well? I'm curious just because I have a bit of both that maybe watch this or listen to this.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're already talking to some corporates as well, so there will be packages for corporates. The corporates might, if they want to offer more support to their employees or workforce, then we have coaching services that could be made available, or some kind of a boot camps, on any other customized to their workforce. We could do it as per the topic. A generic would be okay, just a perimenopause program or something like
Yeah.
that, and an ongoing support. It could be different ways. It could be a chat support, a coaching support, or one-on-one consultation, or a group kind of a therapy, or
Mhm.
self care. So very, very flexible based on each and every organization's budget. We are very sensitive to that because if people don't have that kind, they don't want to have a lot of budget for these kind of things. But that's why
Yeah.
ours is super flexible. Will start at like $5. It's like a ridiculous, $5 per person, per woman, per month. That is how cheap, how affordable we're going to make it, so that it's like a no brainer. And
Yeah.
then we go up accordingly based on each and every corporate's needs and
Mhm.
what the needs are.
Yeah, it sounds like you're gonna be a really great place to go for matching up services and support systems depending. So, will you also have things like courses and things webinars, free things that they can watch or go onto the app for that? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So experts, so this is going to be truly a sort of like a marketplace of women for
Yeah,
women.
that's the word I was looking for,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So experts can, we are onboarding experts as we speak right now before the launch. Obviously, we need to onboard them. So we are onboarding them as we speak. They can create consultations, workshops, live workshops, or even simple courses, programs if they have, or boot camp. These are the things they, or even offer some chat support that could be affordable. So it's not only the app what I talked about. That is a
Yeah,
bare bone uh, what we have kind of kludged together some of the things,
yeah.
but the thing would be these offerings from the experts all over the world. So that's why where the culture would come in. Let's say I am whatever Latino woman, I want to talk in Spanish to a Latino expert. We will have that matching service where if the user tells us that's what they want, we will try to match them with the best person here, so that
Mhm.
there's a cultural aspect of that. But all this is the idea, so that we offer a very comprehensive offering, right, rather than just a teeny bit of just a small sliver.
And filling the gap for those folks that are not getting what they need from traditional medicine, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not against traditional medicine, but the
Yep,
idea was to really kind of bring
supplement it.
yeah, supplement it.
Yeah.
That I think we you can call us as a supplement, but it's an important supplement,
No,
right?
it is. Yeah, yeah.
If I stop taking my some of the supplements, I won't function the way I'm functioning now. So definitely, that is an important supplement.
Yeah, definitely. So if people wanna find out more about what you're doing, the app, the offers, all that, where can they find you? And by the way, the links will be in the show notes, but where can they find you?
The best place right now is our website, www.nourishdoc.com. When we make the app available in a month's time or so, we will have everything on our website. But until then, go to our website. Feel free to send us, feedback or contact us. We'll be happy to answer your questions.
Perfect. Well, thanks for this conversation. I think, like I said earlier on the show, it's very topical. It's really important that we have
Mhm.
these conversations and that we listen to any and all of the experts out there looking to support our mid career ladies in the C suite that are struggling with perimenopause and menopause. So thanks again for being on the show, Amita. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So again, folks, I'll be placing the links in the show notes below. So if you need to contact Amita, please go there. There'll be more information. Thanks again for listening to the Executive Exhale podcast today. If you got anything out of this, remember, follow, like, subscribe, do all the things. It's free. It helps boost this content so they can get out to other leaders just like you who might be needing this content or wanting to listen to this kind of content. Until next time, folks, stay grounded, stay inspired, and remember to exhale.